The courtroom wasn't physically cold, but the atmosphere carried a chill of its own. They sat opposite me. Her hands rested quietly in her lap, fingers perfectly manicured with red polish, still as stone, yet the nervous bounce of her left leg betrayed her calm. Dr. Rowan sat beside her, fiddling with his tie the same way he had on the witness stand. Each time a question got uncomfortably close, their lawyer would clear his throat and reach for his glass of water. I didn't flinch. The judge cleared his throat. "Mr. Alden, you may begin." I rose with composure. The folder in my grasp was slim, only 3 pages, but it held enough truth to unravel lives. Maybe more than one. I cast a glance toward the gallery. None of those faces mattered. The only thing that did was the picture tucked inside my wallet. My son, Liam. He was 8 when he died. It took me less than 6 months to expose the ones who helped bury what really happened to him. The call came at 2:43 in the morning. By 3:15, I was standing in a hospital room. It was unnervingly quiet, not what you'd expect where a child had just passed. No monitors chiming, no staff offering soft words of sympathy. Just my son, still beneath the sheet, his body warm as if he were only pretending to sleep. The coroner avoided my eyes at first. "Sir," he said carefully, "there's something inside him." I stared, confused. Then he turned Liam's body with great care and made a small incision near his spine. What spilled out wasn't blood. It was metal. Twisted. Unnatural. Planted. What he removed looked like a microchip. Some kind of medical implant. But it wasn't standard. It wasn't sanctioned. It had been hidden deep within layers of tissue. I held my breath. "What is that?" I asked. He didn't respond. He didn't have to. I already knew who had access to Liam's medical history, who had pushed for experimental treatments, who had managed to sway the court into allowing unsupervised, weekly sessions with him. Dr. Rowan. My ex-wife's fiancé. Our divorce had been clinical, like a surgeon's cut, clean, precise, and devoid of feeling. She claimed I was emotionally distant, that Liam needed someone more involved, more available. They painted me as a father who preferred boardrooms over bedtime stories. She brought in experts, psychological evaluations, witness testimony. In the end, custody slipped away from me like sand through open fingers. Rowan played his role perfectly. He wore kindness like a second skin. Courteous, educated, trustworthy. He brought Liam picture books and puzzles. Promised to help manage his seizures. But I saw the changes. Every time Liam returned from those appointments, he was drained, mentally and physically. His focus would scatter. His once bright drawings grew dark and heavy. I voiced my worries. Nobody listened. Then he was gone. Just like that. Taken. And the first thread that unraveled the lie? It came from Rowan himself. He had left his tablet behind in the waiting area during the custody proceedings. I sat down next to it, eyes fixed as the screen lit up with alerts. One notification preview caught my attention. Trial response, 87% suppression success. That phrase wasn't unfamiliar. I used to work in biomedical engineering. I'd written proposals and secured funding for neuroinhibitor research before the military locked it away behind classified walls. I quietly picked up the tablet, cloned every file, and said nothing. That night, I returned home and pulled every piece of Liam's medical file. I cross-referenced it all with the data I had just extracted. The truth was undeniable. Rowan hadn't been helping my son. He'd been experimenting on him. And she knew. She had signed off on it. I kept my composure each time I saw them. Through court-mandated drop-offs, supervised sessions, and forced co-parenting meetings, I smiled politely. Played the part of the devastated father trying to heal. Behind that facade, I built a small team. A former profiler from Quantico, a journalist who knew how to keep her head down, and a cybersecurity expert with access to classified military systems. Together, we tracked the implant to its origin, prototype 47 Malawian Quachas. It was designed to suppress seizures by muting neural activity. It had failed in 90% of lab animals. Never approved. No green light from the FDA. But a private firm, unregulated, operating in the shadows, had found a loophole. They were conducting pediatric trials without oversight, under the radar. And Rowan sat on their executive board. Her signature was on every consent form. Not once. 7 separate times. Liam wasn't under treatment. He was part of an illegal trial. He was a human subject. Back in the courtroom, I laid out the evidence slowly, deliberately. One sheet at a time. I didn't glance at her as I read the email she sent, thanking Rowan for the generous contribution to her consultancy business. I didn't break when I displayed MRI scans showing how the implant had shifted inside Liam's spine, eventually fracturing and causing internal bleeding. I paused only once, to play the recording from Liam's toy recorder. He hadn't meant to capture it, but the device had picked up a voice, Rowan's, soft and calm, saying, "Hold still, buddy. This will help you stop being difficult." The silence that followed was shattered by her audible gasp. The judge called for order. Rowan stood up and denied every accusation. That's when I handed the judge the final piece, a medical examiner's certified image showing the implant, still wrapped in my son's spinal tissue. Liam's tissue. The courtroom exploded. The trial didn't last more than 2 days. Rowan was found guilty, charged with violating federal laws on unapproved human experimentation. His career ended there. He was taken into custody. She lost everything, the credentials, her public image, the house they once shared. No one comes around anymore. She's not behind bars, technically. But I made sure she lives inside the prison built from her own betrayals. When the verdict was read, I didn't speak to her. She tried to get a word out. I didn't look her way. Now, every Sunday, I visit the place where Liam rests. There's a small stone I leave there, smooth and cool to the touch, etched with his handwriting. "Love you, Dad." I sit by it. I close my eyes and listen to the breeze. Some days, it sounds like breathing. Other days, it sounds like justice.